Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage and say sing along.
All right, so welcome back, guys. Today we are going to look at another thing. We're going to look at pipelines. And if you notice on the screen, you can see that I have the same old Python project that we're going to actually use as an example to do our pipeline setup, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right in. Let's go ahead and open our test project here. And just to recap on what pipelines are essentially, they can be CI or CD type pipelines. And what this means is CI pipelines are continuous integration pipelines. These are, for example, code mergers. This is when you want to integrate all your code together, then they call it a continuous integration because it's coming in from various points. It could be from different developers or different other streamlines, right? Continuous development speaks about the deployment of continuous deployment speaks about a continuous deployment or installation of that code, right? So you want to focus on. Right. So deployment would be that it's centered around installation. So automatically installing this code using the automation services built into Azure. Okay. It's as simple as that. So let's get started, right? So first of all, we want to go to a new project. When you get that new project open, then you're going to go and you're going to see the menu items on the left here, boards, repos. You're going to go to pipelines. And when you go to pipelines, you're going to actually see if you can create one of your pipelines. Now, when you create the new pipeline, you go to new pipeline here, and we're actually going to use the Azure repo, right? So you're gonna click Azure repo Git, okay? And since we already have a repo, we'll go ahead and we'll select the one here, right? And then in terms of configuration, we're gonna say that it's uh, a starter pipeline that we can actually configure, or we can use an existing Azure pipeline. We're gonna go with existing Azure pipeline YAML file, and we're gonna call this one uh, well, we're gonna if it is that we already have one set up, then we'll actually go ahead and plug the path in here. So you'll plug the path in that takes you to your YAML file. But in this case, we have our own YAML file, so we're gonna put that YAML file in, and we'll go through what exactly the YAML file breakdown is because we have our own template. And again, you would like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. In our paid community, we actually provide you with that YAML template so you can go ahead and use it in your own work, or if it is that you are creating your own pipelines, or if you have a hobby, you can use it in there as well. All right. So let's see if we can go, and let's assume that you've already set a new pipeline. We're going to go to a pipeline here that we already have, and then we're going to go and we're going to edit that pipeline. Okay. And this pipeline here is one that we'll go through real quickly. In our main community, you will have a lot more depth in terms of what each section represents, what exactly how do you use the triggers, can you plug in different variables, and also which image you're going to use for doing that deployment. And then there's a breakdown I have in terms of in this template here, in terms of the various stages and how it is that this particular pipeline allows you to deploy your application to test. And if it is that you test and it fails, then you can roll it back. If it is that you are okay and you promote to production, then you can decide to roll it back if production does not suit your need, right? After you do your testing. So we're going to do a quick demonstration of that right now. And in this particular pipeline, you have deploy to test, you have approved for production, you have deploy to production, and then you have a manual decision, which is whether you're going to keep it or you're going to roll it back. All right. And in this case, there's another stage 5, which is to finalize, which is basically to say, once the pipeline has run, I'm going to keep this pipeline. I'm going to keep the result of this pipeline. Everything needs to stay in production, and there's no need to change anything. All right. So pretty straightforward. There's a rollback if rejected stage as well. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so it's about 233 lines of pipeline YAML code, and you'll get access to this obviously once you're a part of the community. You can see that community and subscribe button in for the school community down in the description below. Okay, so now that we have our YAML code, which is basically running the pipeline, doing the different stages of the pipeline, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run that pipeline. And we're going to see what happens. Okay. So first of all, we hit run here. It's right above the pipeline code. And then it's going to ask us about some settings about that pipeline. In this case, we keep everything default, and we're going to go ahead and click run. Now, when the pipeline is running, we're going to see some boxes here. These boxes represent the different stages of the pipeline. Right now, it's deploying to test. So we click on deploy to test here, and we're going to see exactly what the pipeline is doing live, which is very useful because this is exactly how you're going to determine if there are any issues. Here are the steps in one of the stages where it's checking the Python code, it's installing the libraries and the different dependencies, and it's actually performing a health check, which is a part of the pipeline stage, deploy to test, right? And it takes about 10 seconds so far to do that. And once it is that it's complete, it's going to say, hey, I haven't finalized the job because I'm going to approve for production, which is another stage of the pipeline. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And you will notice that, let me move this over here a little bit. You will notice that it says review, right? So I'm going to click review. And what does that do? It's actually saying here, let's move this over here so we can see it a little better. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So in this case, it's asking us to review because inside the pipeline, it's actually configured to tell me, I've actually written in the pipeline, where exactly is it that the testing can take place, right? And it's, you can see here, it specifies where that testing would take place. So we'd simply go here, and we would copy the URL, and then we paste it in a in the browser here and see if it is that we come. And yeah, so it's actually saying my in-store inventory test is working, running successfully on port 5000. Beautiful. It means that this is working as expected. Now, let's say there was a failure. It didn't work as expected, right? At this point, we had the option on the pipeline to roll back that test environment to whatever it is that the previous version was. Remember we spoke about versioning on the previous video? Well, you could roll it back to the previous version, which is what's configured in this pipeline. Or we can say, hey, if this is good, the test teams have done all they need to do and everything is okay, it means then that we can say, hey, we're going to move forward. So simply, we go back to the pipeline, and we're going to go ahead and click resume. And when we click resume, once again, we got to go back to the jobs. We have to look to see what's happening with the actual steps, right? And so therefore, we're going to go and we're going to go back to the main end. You notice here, it's then moved on now to deploy to production. Notice? So it's actually moved on to the second step, and it's completed with this one. We actually gave that validation to say it's passed. So we're going to take a look at the logs now, because that's the most important thing, right? Once you're running a deployment, you need to check the logs off that pipeline to make sure that everything is going according to plan, right? And the good thing about it is we have the ability to view the raw logs. If you click here, we have the ability to view the raw logs, and we can actually see what went wrong. All right, so it's now saying that is completed with deployment to production, and you can see the logs here. If you want to see the individual logs breakdown, you can actually go to each step, and it will show you what happened along each step. The backup step is included, the deployment step is included, and you have to back up your changes, if you're deploying an application, the pipeline takes care of that. Okay. Now, where are we? It says decision gate. So in my pipeline, I put a decision gate to once again allow for some approver to say, hey, this is where we're at, and you need to review the changes. So before it was showing the URL to the test instance. So now we're going to look at the production instance, and we tested it, and hey, here it says this app that you are running, we can actually access it on port 5001 here, and it's successfully deployed. So this is good, right? Thumbs up, because it means that both our test environment and production environment are deployed correctly, and the app is running successfully. So the pipeline has successfully run and is deploying to both environments. So therefore, we go to review, and it says here is these are the instructions. Remember, it would have given us the URL in this pipeline to say that the app was deployed correctly. And we can even give some instructions in terms of in the comments. So in the pipeline, we have an area where we can actually give that. It shows here that they should check functionality, verify performance, and review logs, right? And if it is that the reviewer wants to approve it, they can go ahead and click resume, or they can reject it by clicking the reject button. I probably should have put approve here, but it's totally up to you. Okay. And so since everything works perfectly fine, we're going to go ahead and we're going to click resume. Remember, guys, we talked about if you click reject, you will reject the changes to production, and it means that the changes would be backed up, which means the application would have been rezipped, the new one, the old one would have been unzipped and then applied to the older version, the previous version, which was in place. Okay, so we applied the decision gate, and now what it means, if we go back to our pipeline, you will notice all steps in the pipeline: deploy to test, approve to production, deploy to production, keep or rollback, and then finalize the deployment, right? Or if it is that we didn't review it, it would have gone to the option to roll back production. Okay. And so because that's skipped, it means therefore that we are saying all is well, and we don't need to do that. All right. So guys, the full YAML, the full code is available in our community. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm out.
Count blessings, yeah, you know we pray up.